to the morning brief. What we're about to do is phenomenal. The conversation and then, of course, the action itself. But let me introduce our guest to you. You may have seen him across social media doing some great work with young Nigerians in slums, different parts. Tunde Onakoya is our guest on the program. He's a founder of Chess in Slums, Africa. Hi, Tunde. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So, before we get into the conversation, let's just give a quick explanation of what is writing. So we have a chess board, right? We'll be playing a game of chess with Tunde. So for every question he answers, we make a move, right? Tunde, you must not beat us.
You're making a move on our behalf.
On our behalf.
On our behalf.
So it's three one.
If Tunde wins all three of us,
on our
you're
behalf.
in trouble. That would be too much of a disgrace.
Hopefully you don't ask too many questions. So
I will slow it down. Right? But speaking of that, I saw a video where you played with 10 people simultaneously. I think it was in Germany. Yeah. Am I correct? Did that really happen? Because Germany is home to a lot of grandmasters. I mean, I think it's second home after Russia, and I think. Yeah, so you went to Germany, and you played with 10 people, and you won.
You won all of them.
All of them. Did that really happen, or was it planned?
No, it happened. Of course, it did. But just maybe a little clarification. They're not the top players in Germany. Like the top players are grandmasters, so that's the highest level you could ever attain. So the way competitive chess works, it's a one-on-one thing. So in an actual competitive game, you cannot play simultaneously, right? It doesn't work that way. So most of them are, good players. There was a man that was that had a PhD in mathematical logic and was a former, chairman of the United Nations Security Council. Was a former champion as well. So I think that was one of my toughest opponents, and a few other people that were quite strong. But yeah, it was something I'd never done before.
Right.
But
and you won.
Yeah, I won.
You won all 10 of them.
Yeah,
including the prof.
Well, so your move today.
You should be very worried now.
I know, right? So your move. I'm shaking
literally. Start with the King's Pawn opening.
There you go. So you called it the King Pawns opening. I'm just going to
be careful. You're doing it on behalf
on behalf of all of us, right?
Yeah, so
who's next?
So I'm one. I'm not moving the chess. For the records, I'm not going there. So he's doing this on our behalf. So I'm wondering, because we've seen the work you've done with these young people, how did you get them to get interested in a game that requires a lot of deep thinking?
I think, and that's the thing about understanding potential, right? And I've said this a couple of times, that potential is nothing if it's not realized. And the kind of work that we do, we're using chess as a tool to help to empower the minds of young people, especially the ones in impoverished communities. And chess has always had this this identity, this brand of being a game for the elites, right? So when you now take that and you take it to the slums, it's a different ballgame entirely, because now you're working with children that probably I've never been in the four walls of a classroom before. Children that never been to school before. Like, how do you explain this complex terminologies to them? How do you explain these complex ideas? And that's the beauty of learning, right? And when you teach a child chess, especially in the slums, in these places where we work, you show them their own potential. That is the greatest gift you can give anyone, right? It doesn't matter how hard it is, right? People have the capacity to learn. And that is the story of potential for those children that live in these unlikely places, right? They don't know that they can even do these hard things. But when you tell them that, see, this thing is hard, it's complex, but you can learn it. And I'm not just saying you can do it. I'm saying I will teach you, and you would see the direct result of your own efforts to learn. And you'll be able to win, and you'll be able to play. And when you do that, it does catch their interest. And when they begin to see the result of their own efforts, then, it's just magic, yeah.
Phenomenal.
So that's how.
And Tunde.
Your move.
Another center pawn.
Okay. Kayode.
Yeah, he's doing well. So
okay.
I guess I hope.
The master says you're doing well. I'm encouraged.
Yeah.
So Tunde, you're still doing amazing work. I follow you, and I still see that you go into those communities to get young people out and to provide education for them. I'm wondering if it's a product of your amazing story. You've shared your story a number of times on a couple of platforms. Were you always compassionate, despite the fact that you went through a very challenging background, or it's a product of your experience and you just want to continue to give back?
That's a really good question. I mean, it's really hard to know if one has always been compassionate on how to start giving that expression. I guess maybe from a really young age, I've always been really curious about inequalities that exist in our society, and a lot of that is driven by my own personal story. I also grew up in a small place in Ikorodu, and we had very little access. We had to drop out of school, had to do many odd jobs, to support the family. So I guess a lot of that humble background, it gave us an understanding of like suffering and poverty in a very intimate way, right? There are a lot of people that have had like some level of privilege all their lives, so they don't really know what it means to be hungry, for example. They don't know what it means to not have, right? Because they've been shielded by their privilege and they've always had access to whatever it is they wanted. So a lot of growing up for me, we didn't have a lot of that, right? So we knew the pain of hunger, we knew the pain of not having access. And that is the real tragedy of poverty, right? It's not just not having money, you're not having access. You're completely removed from systems, education, rule of law, everything. So I guess that helped really instill this empathy for people that have gone through the same things that I did, right? To just understand their plights from a much different lens, right? So a lot of that is deeply rooted in empathy and compassion. And that is why I think I have the capacity to do what I do and to do it so passionately, without, giving up even when it becomes hard, because I know that I want to be who I needed when I was young to someone else. So I think that is where it really does stem from, empathy.
I asked that question because recently you had cause to mourn. You lost one young person that you had, reached out and tried to help. We commiserate with you, by the way.
Thank you.
And you said you deposited a huge sum of money, just for his treatment. So that makes me wonder, do you have infinite resources? How do you get the funding that you, deploy to help these young people?
Just before that,
I need to make
the game.
You're more. Okay.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, I need to respond now. Okay, he's a good player.
I'm learning from this.
He's a good player. So, for the viewers that probably don't know the story, we recently lost a child at our center in Makoko, and we spent over 32 million naira trying to save his life, and this is not because we have infinite resource, right? Chess and Slums is a non-profit organization, right? And we want to try to solve a lot of problems, especially for education in Nigeria, using chess, as a framework. But if you really want to change the world, somebody has to pay for it, right? And for the longest time, we've struggled with being able to fund these ideas that we have, to go to the slums, and there's no infinite money anywhere. What we have is the goodwill of the people, right? People see the work that we do, and to a degree, we're bringing the crisis, much closer to them, right? We see all of these problems, and people have intentions to do something about it, but not a lot of people have the courage to do it, right? What we're doing with Chess and Slums is showing courage and taking the first step, for action, and thousands of people around the world have supported that. We also have a few partners. Some of the tech companies in Nigeria also support us. And there's never enough money to do everything that you do, but we'll go great lengths, to ensure that, the children we're advocating for, that we can do everything, to give them the life that they deserve, right? So it's just driven by knowing that money is only going to be a tool, right, to drive the impact that we need, right? So we'll go great lengths for every single child, because we think about it as an end-to-end thing, not just the numbers. So we want to impact the lives of 1 million children. If we can do something meaningful for one child, then we have indeed, achieved impact for that one child.
Absolutely. So where does your greatest, who goes next? Where does your greatest funding come from? Okay, go ahead, Guide.
But I'll also grab everything. But yes, you can answer that question after.
Greatest funding. Let me first block.
At home or abroad?
I'm not attacking it, just...
I think one of our biggest partners is Flutterwave, a tech company, piggyvest So a lot of, and these are like local companies in Nigeria, and abroad too. Chess.com is the biggest website in the world for chess. They're one of our biggest partners. So we have a lot of corporate partners. Sterling Bank too, is an incredible partner over the years. So yes, we have a lot of incredible people that support us, but most of our support has come from people. Like people giving 1,500 naira. That is where most of our funding has come from.
That's awesome.
True story, yes.
Phenomenal. So let me just quickly make my move before. Let me protect myself before I ask my question. And this is it. So you're becoming an icon, really, with the cap. I mean, the iconic cap. I see that's some merchandise you also sell, so people can actually purchase that on the website. But a lot of people look at you and they just wonder, how does his mind work? Because you have that look. It doesn't quite betray what you're thinking, or at least what people think you're thinking. It's just, it's not stoic, but it's just straight. You have the poker face, and I think it's good for chess. Anyway, but I imagine I've seen that come across a lot. People are wondering, how does his mind work? I imagine it's such a beautiful thing in your mind. How does he think when he sees people, when he sees life? What comes to him? Maybe you might want to open up a little bit for people who have asked that question. Oh, there you go, the smile.
That's rare.
Exactly. So how does your mind work? We'll get to the big work you're doing. Building, you say you want to build the biggest chess academy, and I see some traction is coming in that light. But give us a peek into your mind, Tunde.
That's an interesting question, because the last couple of days particularly have been greatly overwhelming, because since I got back from Germany, and I think since that video went viral, I have gotten at least 200,000 followers, and a lot of them are not even Nigerians, like from around the world. And everyone has been asking, this, which is interesting, because we've been doing the Chess and Slums project for the last 6 years, and that is what I've always been known for. But now when I go out now, people just look at me like, wait, are you the guy that beat 10 people at chess? And you see a lot of people send really thoughtful messages, and they're like, how do you think the way you do? Why do you care about those things? Why do you do those things? As a young person, like what is typical is you're chasing ambition for yourself. Your idea of success is a personal one. I think for me, the way I see the world is just a little different, right? A lot of that is deeply rooted in my own personal story and my own journey as well. And a lot of that is the reason why I have these convictions that I have, and why I think about things a little differently. An important philosophy for me is thinking about success as a communal one. Right, we tend to think about success like as a personal thing. Oh, I want to get a car, I want to get a house, I want to do this for my family. I mean, it is good, right? It is good to have, all those, aspirations, right? But success that is meaningful and the one that truly validates purpose for me is like seeing a child, from absolute poverty. I'm just taking them from 0 to 1.
Hero.
And that could mean anything. It could mean just giving them the capacity to think by teaching them chess, or giving them, education, or helping them understand their own potential. So that is the lens through which I see like success. And that is why I'm able to do the things that I do, because I believe success has to be shared. I have this great talent of chess, but when I share with someone else, it becomes a gift to them. So that is what success means, right? And in terms of like my own understanding of things, it's just knowing that I want to really be a part of solving something, right? Nigeria has a lot of problems, right? And because I have been given this capacity to see things with a little more empathy, and empathy is a gift. Not a lot of people have the capacity for it. And because I have that, and because my background prepared me to be able to see the world in this way, and I can use it, to galvanize action around causes that are important and just bridge the gap for other people.
All right, so maybe you make your move, then I ask my question. Both of you just make your move. So you make your move.
You must not win this match.
So you answer the question. Make your move. So as we begin to wind down and wrap up,
we should have 2 more moves so that we can move closer to ending this game before the end of the program.
The time may not allow that.
Quick move, right?
But okay, maybe you have 2 more moves. Yeah, just 2 more moves. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I understand. Kayode, his queen is moving.
He's surviving.
Nice one. Jeffrey, ask your question.
I'm already scared. Okay. Okay, you talked about the children and what success means to you. Maybe you can share one success story. Success stories doesn't just help for traction and optics. It also helps for impact and support.
Sure.
Maybe a particular story in 1 minute because of time.
Yeah, I think I'll just share the most recent one. So in December, like the entire month of December, we're in that Lekki Expressway all the way to Jakunde. So all those kids that beg for money in traffic, we just started looking for them. Then we brought all of them together. And for the entire month, we're just teaching them every day, 5 hours every day, chess, mental maths, art, everything. We spent time with them and we did it with love and kindness. And we did this every day for the month of December, and at the end of it, we organized a tournament. And apparently, one of the kids there, his name is Daniel, that used to pick scrap. All those kids that carry these heavy bags and cast scrap. And the boy we discovered was a math genius, right? And he won our mental math, competition.
Yeah.
And he has been on the street for several years. He wanted to be a doctor, but then his parents do not have any money. He had to drop out of school, had to leave home to go survive on his own. I discovered that this boy has a sound mind, and it was just such a beautiful story. Now he doesn't live on the streets anymore. He's in our shelter home, and he's getting back to school, this term. And
we need to speak to this. The work you're doing, building the Chess Academy, has work begun. How many children have you reached out to? I'm asking all of the questions, so you don't win me. And also,
maybe Castle.
There you go, smart one. And also, I was going to ask you, what can we do to help? Because I imagine a lot of people see your videos and they want to do that.
Yeah,
they're just maybe busy with work, they're in their homes, they can't go out. So 3 questions. Chess Academy, how many children have you been able to help? Perhaps a goal, and how can we help?
In the last 6 years, we've been able to reach about 10,000 children. And what a lot of people don't know is
10,000.
we have more centers even outside Nigeria than in Nigeria now. We have in Kenya, Burkina Faso, Uganda. So I was doing a lot of traveling before I had surgery sometime last year. But we're resuming a lot of that this year. We already have presence in 11 countries across Africa. So about 10,000 children, and we have about like 1,000 of them on scholarship that we pay their tuition on a timely basis. We recently signed a grant contract with Lufthansa Airlines. They're also one of our biggest partners to build a chess academy. And this is going to be, the biggest chess academy in the world, which would also double as an innovation lab, right? Because I think we need that convergence point where we can really nurture children, from this place. And it will be free for all children in poverty, orphans, children that do not have means. It will be free and open to all of them. Begin to really help them develop these critical thinking skills to nurture their ideas so they can change the world. And that is a dream come true for me, right? And for people at home that are watching that want to help, there are a lot of ways to do that. An easy way is to donate to our cause. But beyond that, tell people about the work that we do. You can volunteer your time, as a professional. We're not just doing chess, clearly, right? There are a lot of moving parts to it. So if you think you have a skill, you have some capacity, some knowledge, just reach out to us, and you can contribute that, some of your time.
One question. I must ask this. No. I must ask this on behalf of the ladies. He has a lot of female fans. So Tunde, tell us, how do you deal with the attention in just a few words? And are you taking?
Well, the question I've gotten most this week is, okay, not like questions. God said you are my husband.
Okay, that's a good place.
So I wonder if 20 people are saying God said I'm their husband. So who exactly is God saying? So of course, when you're in the spotlight like this, you get all kinds of attention, right? And you have to learn to manage that, right? So for me, the work is more important. So, when the time is right.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you didn't get to win this. We have to thank you so much.
Thank you for letting me ask that question.
We should. Tunde Onakoya.
It was a good game regardless.
It was, right? I appreciate you.
We can finish this after we end the show.
Let's end the show.
Tunde Onakoya, thank you so much for your time. We'll continue this conversation. Well, that's been the show for today, everyone. This is a morning brief. Yes, this is what we live for. Absolutely. I'm Kayode Fikulu.
Always a time of inspiration with Tunde Onakoya, and he says, if we must change the world, somebody has to pay for it. Thank you for watching. I am Bukola Koka.
Let's do this again tomorrow. Goodbye. I'm Jeff Ruzon.